I'm very honoured to be here. It's the second time that Rice Exchange is at a cotton and rice conference. Our CEO, Stephen Edkins, came last year. He's unable to come this year because he's got his head down. We're very close to launching. He's asked me to come, and I'm delighted to be here. Stephen, I'll tell you a little bit about how the company was born. It was set up in 2008 when Stephen, who is a British economist and entrepreneur, was looking to structure a rice trade between Asia and Nigeria. He got so frustrated that he got in touch with Frank Gouverne, a Dutch rice trader with about 35 years experience, and Rice Exchange was born. So Stephen was here last year to give you guys an update, and I've actually got a script because Milo has very generously said I can go first, but he's not going to want me to eat into his time, and I'm sure that you're all here to hear Milo as well. So I've got a lot to say, but I'm going to try and keep to 20 minutes. Okay, so what the objective of the exchange is to transform the highly fragmented international rice trade into a modern global marketplace by introducing trust and efficiency via the provision of verified immutable data. So our digital platform is a one-stop shop where buyers, sellers, service providers find each other, conduct trades, and arrange insurance, shipping, inspection, and settlement in a secure and cost-efficient environment. So we're only in rice. As you all know, it's one of the world's most important soft commodities, but there is no marketplace for rice. It's consumed by over 4 billion people and provides employment for another billion. It's critical to food security in many parts of the world. So the global rice market is growing, it's evolving. More rice is being consumed in Africa and the Middle East. Consumers are demanding more variety in the types of rice available. Sustainably produced rice is very much on the radar at the moment. Climate change is having a dramatic impact on rice harvests, and we foresee that global rice trading will be key for food security increasingly. So let's talk about the problems with the rice trade, the frictions. It's very difficult for buyers and sellers to connect at the moment in a trustless and highly fragmented environment. They often rely on the services of expensive middlemen to make these connections. Other challenges are the reliance on hard copy paperwork with the related costs and potential for fraud and human error. The rice trade is underfinanced, and there is a lack of market data and price transparency. Okay, insurance claims are very common, particularly claims for wet damage on the Asia to West Africa route. So with that in mind, we've developed a moisture prevention program that consists in lining containers with brown paper to absorb excess moisture. Users on the exchange that commit to implementing this program are eligible for top quality insurance cover on the Rice Exchange platform. So our co-founder, Frank Gouverne, as I mentioned earlier, has used his experience and detailed knowledge of the global rice trade to design an intuitive and easy-to-use platform to improve outcomes for all the stakeholders. So this slide shows you a little bit about the users that have signed up. So over the last 18 months, we'd signed up almost 500 early adopters from over 70 countries with intentions to trade 7 million tons on an annual basis. And that's a conservative figure because we'd actually reduced the indicative tonnage by half. So it's not just buyers and sellers and consumers of rice that stand to benefit from the digitization of the trade, but other parties in the ecosystem, such as shippers, insurers, inspection companies, and banks. Service providers on the platform benefit from improved access to customers at lower cost with vastly improved data transparency and reporting capabilities. I mean, some of the insurance companies are reluctant to provide cover on some shipping routes at the moment because there's a lot of fraud and there's a very high claims ratio. So these are some of the service providers that we're working with. We're working with Maersk, with Ducat. Ducat is a shipper that is on the Asia to West Africa route, and it provides a parcel service. So it caters for small for rice cargoes as low as 1,000 tons. So it's a real democratization of the trade. We're working with 2 insurance companies and 4 inspection companies. We're working on the payment side, we're working on a pilot with Swift GPI, that's the global payment innovation. Swift's vision is to make real-time 24/7 cross-border payments as seamless, convenient, cost-efficient, and accessible as domestic payments are today. So that would be a huge change for the rice trade. So let's have a look at the platform. This is actually the pilot version from last year, so there is some more functionality on it now. This is the registration login page, the dashboard, where any of current contracts, past contracts, and market data can be found. So okay, looking at price discovery. Once on the platform, you can make a trade request that is public and goes out to the entire exchange, or you could make a private trade request to counterparties that you already know. But in terms of price discovery, this is going to be very revolutionary. And then documentation. So all the documents on the platform are all smart contracts. The platform provides a standardized set of documents related to the rice trade, including the bill of lading, inspection documents, certificates, the shipping advice, quality certificates, and insurance paper. A hash is created for each action, and so there's an audit trail for everything that happens on the platform. And importantly, parties on the platform can share trading history on a permissioned basis, allowing suppliers and buyers to connect in a climate of trust. So it's a little bit like eBay. You can see the reputation that your counterparty has. So last summer we did pilot testing on the platform. That was fairly extensive, and that demonstrated efficiency gains of up to 90% and cost savings of 20%. So let's talk a little bit about the technology that the platform's built on. So it's been it's built on a private permissioned blockchain. So a permissioned blockchain is one where all the parties that join the network are authenticated prior to participating and have known identities. Private permissioned networks provide both data privacy and information sharing, which is key for the rice trade. And the other important thing is immutability, which means that the data can't be changed. So there is an audit trail which anyone can go back to with permission and see what happened if there is a dispute somewhere along the line. So sign or verify logic is implemented in every communication touch point, and transactions are consented upon through a series of endorsement and validation checks. In this sense, a private permission blockchain differs significantly from traditional blockchain platforms like the one hosting Bitcoin that promote anonymity and rely on cryptocurrencies and heavy compute obligations to validate transactions. So the Rice Exchange platform links all the parties, it brings transparency and efficiency gains. It's been built by Fujitsu on Hyperledger Fabric. Hyperledger is the best solution for a multi-party enterprise like Rice Exchange, and Fujitsu is highly experienced in Hyperledger, being a founding member of the technology. It also has ample experience in enterprise launches. The platform has been architected in such a way that it has the flexibility to integrate other partners within the Rice ecosystem in the future. So if more insurance companies want to come on board, if more banks want to come on board, we can bring them in. So let's talk a little bit about sustainable rice. So Rice Exchange is a member of the Sustainable Rice platform and works with it to raise the profile of sustainably produced rice. The SRP was convened in 2011 by the UN Environment Programme and the International Rice Research Institute, together with partners from public and private sectors. And it has created a standard for sustainably produced rice. And they have demonstrated that farmers that use this standard can boost their income by between 10 and 20% through higher yields and lower input costs. Verifiable certification of sustainable best practice allows farmers to command premiums for their rice. As over 1 billion people depend on rice farming for their livelihoods, the impact of higher prices could be significant. So Rice Exchange will guarantee the validity of sustainable certifications awarded to farmers, and this in turn will allow consumers to support sustainably produced rice by paying a premium. In Vietnam, consumers are willing to pay premiums ranging from 9 to 33% for sustainably produced rice. So this is just to show you a little bit what we've been doing over the last 2 years. The 2018 was in the first technology phase was the MVP. We then moved on to the pilot phase in the last quarter of 2018 and the first half of 2019. And now we're in the integration phase when we're integrating with the service providers. We've done a lot of marketing. We hope we're on the map. With this event, we'll have attended 15 events around the world. We have a bi-monthly newsletter that goes out to early adopters and investors. We've had quite a lot of media coverage, and we're active on social media. So just to conclude, we signed up, it's closer to 500, that figure now, about 500 early adopters from more than 70 countries with a conservative 7 million tons of indicative trading volume. That amounts to between 5 and 15% of total annual trade in those countries. The platform's operational and running pilot trades. The brand is well established. We're now 14 full-time members of staff, and we have strong relationships with service providers. So we're beginning to onboard the first 25 users from around the world for the start of operations. We're very excited to be starting, and we hope to work with rice growers from the US in the future. So I don't know, Milo, if you want to go straight into yours, or we take some questions now.
I have a question. Can this be used on the Mississippi River?
Well, if the US starts to sell rice to Asia or Africa.
Oh, so it goes out of country.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Not for domestic.
Not initially. It's the global trade, but it could become.
Is that where the big savings are?
Sorry.
The big savings are on international trade.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Why are paperwork costs 20% of freight? That doesn't make any sense.
Sorry?
Why are paperwork costs 20% of freight?
Of freight. That's a figure from Maersk. That's it's just back office paper. Bills of lading, travel by FedEx at the moment.
That's including the cost of the cargo ship.
Yeah.
It's 20% of the total freight.
Is back office and paperwork. And if a
Well,
bill of
we're
lading,
predicting half of 1%.
No.
yeah, yeah.
The paperwork is almost primeval. It's like Middle Ages type stuff. It's all paper. There is no. It's a picture, isn't it? It's all
Yeah, there's a
paper.
huge amount of paper. I mean, there was a study following a shipment of it's avocados, not rice,
It
but
has traded in different centuries.
there were 400 separate pieces of paper for a cargo of avocados to go from Brazil to Europe. And if you lose a bill of lading, you know where you have to go. You have to go to court before you can get your cargo taken off the vessel. You know? And since the bill of lading travels by FedEx or by DHL, that happens, you know, more than you would think. Any other questions? Yep.